I've got a multi-tool. Favorite pieces of kit. Boil water in that bag with lots of different ways on how to improvise water containers. All right, so much easier. Now I have a container with a cup. That's like a 500-pound hog right there. Cut up your game or your fish that you need to process and make a water filter using bamboo. Boil the water as well. You gotta be smart, son. And I've got a wicked case of cottonmouth, just like I was smoking mullen. I think I can say that. I'm glad that I got that on camera. I should bottle this and sell it. Oh, you can go through a liter fast when you're thirsty. Time to get back to work. If you knew that somebody had HIV and they discarded a bottle in the trash, would you pick that bottle up out of the trash and use it? One of my pet peeves when it comes to, you know, survival shows or things that you see on YouTube or other platforms is typically somebody will do a demonstration where they pick up a bottle off of the ground or they pick it up out of a trash can and they use it to demonstrate survival techniques. Well, I know a lot of people in the industry, and I'm telling you that most of the time when that's being done, they're taking their own bottle to show you what to do with it. Now, a lot of people would say the chance of you getting a communicable disease like that is very small. But my point is that somebody always wins the lottery. I would much rather work with whatever I have in my EDC and with something natural than have to deal with that. So what I want to do is I want to start a series, an EDC challenge series, where we show how to, you know, meet your priorities of survival with just what you're wearing, what you have in your pockets, or what's in your belt. I mean, this is the perfect time of year to do that. It's summer, it's super hot. And when it comes to managing your priorities right now, our biggest priority is going to be water. It's supposed to get into the 90s. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. It's already in the 80s. It's hot. I'm already sweating doing nothing. But I know that it is going to become a problem the later in the day that we get. And somebody may be saying, you know, shelter should be your first priority. That's not true. Okay, this time of year, I would welcome the rain. I would welcome the wind because it would help to cool me down. As far as fire goes, I really don't want to start a fire, and I typically try to practice with a cold camp in case I was a non-permissive environment anyway. The only reason that I'm going to have a fire right now is, I don't know, say I set up camp somewhere and the bugs were just ridiculous and I needed a smudge fire to help keep them at bay. Or maybe I needed to boil my water or I needed to cook my food. Now, right now we have neither one of those, so fire is definitely not a priority. As far as food goes, I ate last night. I'm not really that hungry this morning, and we can certainly go for a little bit of time without having to eat, which makes water our biggest priority.
Land of Land, your trusted source for extraordinary vacant land across America that expresses your unique, special passions while diversifying your investment portfolio and hedging against runaway inflation. Imagine the thrill and prestige of land ownership, owning a piece of America, making the best investment on earth as simple as an online purchase. Off-the-grid serenity, pricing from $1,000 payable by credit card. Visit us today at landofland.com, America's premier land wholesaler for over a decade.
All right, so the first order of business in an emergency is to mitigate any kind of life threats, and right now we are completely safe. There is no life threat that we have to manage. So something that I like to do is I like to figure out, okay, what resources do I have on me so I can figure out what resources I've got to find. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to just find a nice peaceful place where you're safe, where you can calm down a little bit, because normally in a survival scenario, you're like really stressed out. And so it's always good to just, you know, calm things down a little bit. Now, this is a really good exercise to do with people if they're super stressed out too. This will help calm them down, just showing what kind of resources you've got. And you never know, they may have something on them as well. So the very first thing that I've got is my knife. And inside of my pocket, I've got a multi-tool. And something else that I've got on me is my Wazoo cash belt, which has all kind of cool stuff in it. However, the largest thing that applies to what we're doing is the actual water kit, which I keep inside of the belt. This is one of my favorite pieces of kit. So inside of the kit, I obviously have these Ranger bands that keeps the kit together, and that's really helpful for keeping kit together, starting fires, etc. However, I also have these Katadyn water purification tablets, and with this I have the ability to sterilize, disinfect 2 liters of water. And I also have this bag, which is very, very helpful in this situation, and I'll show you why here coming up later. As part of the kit, I also have this industrial strength aluminum foil, and I also have a water filter or a coffee filter inside this bag, which is good up to 40 microns. Now, I know that we're going to be using this kit, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it back together and I'm going to stick it inside of my pocket so I can put my belt back on and our pants won't fall down. And now that I know that I have that, I can just stick that into my front left pocket, and I can put my belt back on and make sure that I secure my knife. So that's a pretty good start. Now I do have other stuff on me, like I've got a wire saw that's in the belt, I've got an Opinel saw that I keep in the axe pocket, I've got plenty ways to start fire on me, there's no shortage of fire starters, etc. One thing that I have found already is a water source, so that's great. The thing that's really bothering me though is the water bag itself from Wazoo is a great bag. It's actually rated up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. You can boil water in that bag, which I've demonstrated before in the past. However, especially in a survival scenario, accidents happen, right? What if I punctured that bag? I need to find a better way for me to carry the water once I disinfect it. And I've got the perfect idea of how we can do that. Now on this channel, we have showed y'all lots of different ways on how to improvise water containers, but this one has never been shown on this channel before, so I'm pretty excited about sharing it with you. And that natural resource that I'm talking about is bamboo. Now this bamboo forest is located right off the side of a major highway where I live. And typically what I use is bamboo that is this size right here, because inside of one cell wall is it'll hold about a quart of water, and that's perfect. However, we don't have the resources on us to fell something like that. We're gonna have to work with something a little bit smaller. One thing that's making me kind of sad right now is there's just been so much of it that's been cut down that hasn't been harvested. I mean, this is a really awesome resource to have around, and people have just been really irresponsible with it. And so I'm looking around and I see so much that has been felled already, and I think that I can find something that's about the size of what we need. But if you look around, just look at how much has been felled. I mean, it's a ton, a whole bunch of it. So now what I think we're gonna do is we're just gonna, try to find us a piece that we can work with that's, easy to work with. All right, I found this one. Yes, this is poison ivy that is everywhere. And no, I am not allergic, but if you are, you should beware. I think the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean this up, because what I wanna use is, I think, maybe this section right here. So I'm gonna take my saw from my multi-tool and I'm just gonna cut off the branches from this. I'm gonna be all in y'all's way here. I'll try to not be. And I think what we'll do is we'll use this section right here. Now, one thing that I know for sure is that this saw, it's going to be completely inadequate for this, as I will demonstrate. I mean, you could go around it like this. It would take you a very, very long time to do it. But, you got to ask yourself, is the juice, worth the squeeze in this case? If you had to do it, sure. But I want to try something else. I want to try the wire saw that's inside of my belt kit. Okay, so what I did was I found a couple sticks that I could slip into the ends right there so that I have a saw, and we're going to try that next. I'm going to try another spot. All right, sure, it'll do it. but that is definitely not going to be something that I want to do. I want to try something a little bit bigger. All right, so we know that we could do it with our multi-tool. We know that we could do it with the Wazoo wire saw, but something that I love to carry in my pocket, in my axe pocket, on my pants actually, is this Opinel saw. And the reason is for exactly what we're doing right now. All right, let's get set up right here again. And let's see, how well does the Opinel saw work? That is so much easier. Yes. Now for me, that's just a no-brainer. I mean, you saw how simple that was. Having something like this in your pocket is a force multiplier. And that just makes sense. You should get one. So much easier. See if I can get this where y'all can actually see me. It's hard to work in a bamboo forest. Everything is so tight around you. Okay, so that worked gloriously. I'm pretty excited with this piece of bamboo. I don't typically work with bamboo that's this size with my EDC, but we demonstrated that you can easily do that. Now, one thing about bamboo is it has these cells, and you'll notice that at the end of the cell, there's a wall. And that's what we're gonna have to punch out from the top. And we're also gonna have to punch out this second wall as well so we can use the entire container. Now, what I'm gonna attempt to do is I just got another piece of bamboo that was laying here on the ground, and I cut off the ends of it here, and I'm gonna try to smash it into this and see if I can break that wall. All right, we did the first one, and this is just a little bit too thick to get through that second wall. I wonder if I could ream it out with my knife. I might be able to do that. Let's see. All right, there we go. Trim that out pretty good. Let's see if the the stick fits in it though. Oh yes, it does. Oh, it's perfect. One thing that sucks working in bamboo is the mosquitoes. They're horrible right now. Let's see if we can. Yes, success. All right. And you don't have to pop the whole thing loose. I don't know if y'all can see inside of there or not, but now we have two cells that we're working with. The next thing that we got to find is some kind of cap for this to close off the container. So that's the next thing that I'm going to do. Okay, all I did was, cut off just another piece a little further up, and I test fit it, and it wasn't an exact fit, but that's what you want, is something that's kind of close so that you can modify it to fit. So I'm just going to take my knife and I'm going to go around it, make it a little bit smaller, and then we'll test fit it and see if it will actually work. All right, let's see if that'll work. Oh yes, that's what I'm talking about. Now I have a container with a cup and a lid. Now we're gonna get out of here because I'm sick and tired of these mosquitoes. Okay, I am happy to be out of that. I absolutely hate mosquitoes. It's important to always wear clothes, or at least for me it is, to help combat that. They didn't really get my face that much. It was more like my hands, but I just tried to be aware of it and kill them as soon as they would land on me. But we're almost back to our spot at the creek where all we have to deal with is gnats instead of mosquitoes. Another thing that's really kind of difficult to deal with in environments like that is the humidity. I mean, it was so humid in there. Down by the creek here, it's a lot cooler underneath the canopy. Wow. Golly, I wish y'all could see this. This is a huge hog print. That thing is massive. Wow, that's no joke. That's like a 500-pound hog right there. Golly, that is huge. All right, sorry, I got excited there. The next thing that we got to figure out is how much water will our container hold. And so what I've got is this bag, which I know it will hold 1 liter of water. So I'm gonna go ahead and collect a liter of water, pour it into the container, and we'll see how much it'll hold. Okay, so there we go. Let's go fill up our container. Okay, I had to set up the camera while I held the bag in my hand, trying not to spill any of it, and set this up. This may be something tragic here. We may end up losing our container. Let's find out. Hopefully it won't fall over on us. Let's see how much water our container will hold. Oh, I hear it. It is very close. This is literally 1 liter of water up to right here. So we did pretty good with that. I'm pretty happy, which means we could get a little bit more water in it if we wanted to. But the problem with it is the tablets that we have will only do 1 liter of water. So if we were going to fill this thing all the way up to the top, we would have to use 2 of them. And now we know we can take one of these pills and we can go ahead and drop it into the container, just like so. And now we can roll this up and we can save the second one. Okay, that worked out pretty good. We have a known measurement right here with this bag. So instead of, compromising it, now we can just roll it back up and we can stick it in our pocket and we've got it for next time. And if we were to break or lose this or forget it or whatever, at least we still have this. Now, something about bamboo that we demonstrated last weekend in the last video is the silica, which is impregnated in the outer layer. And so to make sure that you don't cut yourself, you might want to go through and chamfer the ends of it just so you don't get a splinter in your lips. Now, like Jason said in the last video, you're not going to be cutting wood or anything like that, but you can certainly cut up your game or your fish that you need to process. But the last thing that we want to do is get a splinter in our lip or in our hands or something like that, because it could go septic and then it could be game over for you if it was an extended survival scenario. Plus, when you round things off like this, it has less of a chance of splitting as well. And so if you wanted to actually keep this container, just the attention to detail is what's going to help preserve it. Now, one thing that I can tell you for sure is that when you are working with bamboo, because there's silica impregnated in the outer layer, it's going to be really rough on your knife. So you need to make sure that you keep it maintained. Now let's test fit the cap again, just to make sure nothing has changed. Oh yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I'm just gonna make sure that that tablet has dissolved in here. So I'm just gonna shake it up a little bit just to make sure that all the water is exposed to the chemicals in the tablet. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, I'm digging it. Okay, so just so you know, the entire time for us to do all of that was about an hour, and that included me traveling to the bamboo forest, setting up and filming, coming back here, getting the water and everything. It took about an hour total, which means if you didn't have to film and you didn't have to travel very far, then you could certainly do it in under 30 minutes. Now, additionally, something that we could have done is we could have filled up that bag, we could have put the tablet in it, we could have secured the top of it, and we could have very carefully placed it off to the side, and that way it's working while we're out in the bamboo forest working. But to be honest, I really don't like taking my eyes off of a precious resource like that. I mean, what if an animal came by and broke the seal on the bag, or it got taken, or whatever the case may be? Something could potentially happen, and then we've already expended half of our resources. Now we don't even have the bag anymore. We've only got one more tablet, so we would have to trust whatever our eyes would visually tell us, like that looks about like a liter of water. And so I think, you know, it'd all be based on the situation or the scenario, what I would actually do. But in this particular case, we don't really have a lot to worry about. I'd rather just be safe because honestly, per the manufacturer's instructions, you can wait a minimum of 45 minutes, or if you want to ensure that you kill cryptosporidium, you would have to wait up to 4 hours. Now, what that means for us is that I'm gonna have to wait until it's the hottest part of the day before I can drink my water, if I follow the manufacturer's instructions. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I have very seldom actually done that. And I've never gotten sick, knock on wood. And I think if I don't wait the specified time by the manufacturer, this will be the one time that I actually get sick. So I am going to wait, just to make sure, I think. Yes, I'm supposed to be setting an example. I will wait the 4 hours, but I gotta say, I am a little bit thirsty after doing that. And once you get thirsty, that means that you're dehydrated. Now, the good news is that is working for us. And so as long as we stayed still and we didn't do a whole lot, we just sat down, we enjoyed, you know, being underneath the canopy shade, we would be fine, you know. But if we were gonna do some work, you know, say we had to travel somewhere, or we had to, I don't know, go get some more resources or whatever the case may be, we're just getting further and further and further behind the curve. And so there is something to be said about managing your resources and managing your time, because out here in a real survival scenario, it's all about managing your calories and managing your hydration. And so these are things that you have to take into account. Now, something else that we could have done is we could have made another one, or we could actually just take the bag and we could place the other tablet inside of it. Now that way you're working ahead of schedule. And in conditions like this where it's, you know, humid and it's really hot, you're gonna need that extra water. And that could be the water that you need to, you know, possibly go out there and boil your water. Like you've got a little bit to work with, and so now you have to use the resources that are around you to create fire so that you can disinfect the water by boiling it next. I have shown in the past that you can make a water filter using bamboo. I mean, it's really simple to do. Then you can also use bamboo to boil the water as well. So that might be what you have to do in order to make it through that 72 hours, but you've got to be thinking beyond that as well. Just because you succeeded this one time doesn't mean that you're not going to need that resource later in the future. And believe me, thirst is a powerful motivator. And if you don't get ahead of it, then you're going to be tempted to just drink out of whatever water source, and that's not good. Now, alternatives would be maybe you found, you know, a spring head, and so you're lowering the chance of you getting sick. But I can tell you that this creek source, I can see all kind of larvae floating around in there, and I don't want to take the chance. There's no reason for me to take a chance when I don't have to. You got to be smart, son. Okay, I have waited the allotted time, and I got to say, how dare you get in my way. Okay, I have got a wicked case of cottonmouth. I mean, look at what time it is. Okay, I can say that I didn't follow my own advice in some ways and I did in others. Okay, I have waited the allotted time to make sure that everything is disinfected and ready to go. What I didn't follow my advice on was I didn't stay still. I had to go track out that hog. And I've got a wicked case of cottonmouth, just like I was smoking mullen. I think I can say that. At any rate, I am way thirstier now than I was back when I left y'all. But I've gone around, I've looked for resources. It's hard to talk. All I had was 2 cups of coffee this morning. I haven't had anything else to drink, so I am certainly ready to hydrate. Really thirsty. Wow, that cap is awesome. I think that's the best one that I ever made. I'm glad that I got that on camera. Without further ado, let's pour some water. Oh yeah, there it goes. Oh, I tell you what, you really appreciate the small things when you're really thirsty. That is really good. Something else that you can do is you can add in electrolytes to the mix that will help improve the taste of water. I can say that before in the past, there are a lot of treatments out there that do not taste as good as the Katadyn tablets do. It's kind of flat tasting. It doesn't really have like a chemical taste to it though. But if you add something like this to the mix, this is just LMNT. I'm just gonna go ahead and add it in there, and I'm just gonna give it a real quick mixing. Okay. Man, that is way better. I gotta say, plus I need the electrolytes of what I've been doing today. And I gotta say, that is a problem for me. Sitting still is certainly a problem. Something I'm gonna have to work on. I think it's just because we are so used to doing stuff all the time. And, you know, if this was a real scenario, which I tried to make it as real as I possibly could today, I haven't drank anything else. So this is all I've had. And I'm not gonna say that I've been working hard or anything. I've just been tracking through the woods for a few hours, and I only went a few miles just to get my paces in today. But I mean, if you really were in a situation where this mattered, you would have to make yourself be calm. Oh, that's so good. I could just drink it straight from this. It's nice to be civilized though. Have something to drink out of. Plus, when you're dehydrated, you need to be, you know, sipping on this. You don't need to be gulping it. And then after I got hydrated, I would obviously fill this thing back up again, and then I would have to start making plans for, you know, what am I going to do next? I'm out of the tablet, so I'm going to have to boil the water next. Now, somebody inevitably in the comments is going to say, well, why don't you get like a Sawyer Mini and put it in your pocket? Well, I used to carry one. I'll be honest with you, I used to carry one, but I have had a couple problems with Sawyers. Number one, I've had the bag break. Jason has also had a bag break. And once it gets kind of clogged up after a while, even if you use the plunger to, you know, back flush it, it's just really hard to draw out of one of them. The best thing that I've ever used is a Grail, but having a Grail on you all the time is kind of difficult. I do have something that I'm working on that I'll probably share with y'all here in the near future. But for now, I don't have one, and so this is what I had to do. But I want to know, first of all, do y'all like the idea of doing an EDC series, and what do you carry in your EDC to help out with this sort of thing? And when I say EDC, I don't mean like a bag. I mean like literally what goes in your pockets, or what you have in your belt or your hat, or whatever it is, aside from having like a haversack or a backpack or some other method of carry, like a sling bag or something. I want to know what you carry in your pockets. What do you have on you at all times? So if you found yourself in this kind of situation, what would you do? Now, if y'all want me to continue on this thought, then let me know in the comment section so I can make another video happen. So if y'all are honey smack digging the video, then get in the comment section, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And until next time, keep fueling those fires. I am gonna have to drink this whole thing. Whoa, quit wasting it, you buffoon. Should bottle this and sell it. Oh, you can go through a liter fast when you're thirsty. Time to get back to work. If you're listening to this broadcast, you are the resistance. To stay in the know, subscribe to the new Survival Dispatch News channel.
Do it now!